Hi guys, Jen here with Astrology and Earth Magic. So today we are discussing how Pluto's station to go retrograde, beginning at the full moon in Scorpio, can feel for us as individuals and on a collective basis. So Pluto will be officially retrograde at the 5-degree 30-minute mark of Aquarius on May 6th, which is tomorrow. But really it's been sitting at that exact degree since May 1st. Pluto is going to be retrograde for about half the year. Will be until October 15th of this year when it reaches 3 degrees, 4 minutes of Aquarius. So only going back about 2 degrees. Its pre-shadow period began back on January 13th, and we will be revisiting those Plutonian themes that began back then as a collective. So we all know what's been going on. There's been a lot going on in this world, a lot of strife, a lot of back and forth. But in forms of like technology, for instance, with AI, we have that moving into ways and developing ways that it will interact with people on an emotional level, instead of just like, oh, Alexa, what's going on with this or what's going on with that, just asking her things like that. Now it's going to actually be able to, kind of understand our emotions a little bit and interact with us on a more personal level. Also, they're developing robots that we can have in our homes that can help us with our everyday routines and our everyday lives, cooking, cleaning, all that stuff that, just is that mundane. Also renewable energy, space tourism. We already see a lot of this happening. We're expanding how far we can go in space and where we are going to go. We went around the moon. Now they're talking about going even further than that, actually stationing on the moon. We also have seen, I think the biggest thing is the issues around authoritarianism, and the control that they have, and us, some people wanting them to restrict those powers, to restrict that control. But then in doing that, it's giving power to others to then control that. So it's very double-edged sword, because in trying to take away powers, you're giving power to another, almost like, giving power to the courts over the president, or giving power to the president over the courts, or the Congress over Department of Homeland Security and things like that. So it's giving power and taking away power, and wanting to expand it here and taking it away here. So as a collective conscience, how is this overall feeling that's happening around us? Are we angry? Are we disjointed? Are we divided? Yes, I definitely see that. So there's going to be a lot of coming together after all this somehow when all is said and done. But I hope the wind isn't bothering this too bad. It's really windy out here. But today we're really going to put our focus on how this is all going to affect us as individuals and not as a collective. So how do we feel about what is happening around us? Where do we feel we are struggling? Are we letting it all just control who we are and how we think? Who is under controlling that? Are we independently controlling our thoughts and our actions, or are we being manipulated by those around us to believe certain things and to act certain ways, to join certain things and whatnot? Can you see also these changes beginning within yourself? Do you feel that there are parts of you that you are already beginning to shed, that you're already feeling like, I need to get rid of this no longer suits me? And what is it that you are leaning on, that you're trying to develop and grow and nurture? So this transformation, it takes time. And during these transformative years that we have coming up with Pluto in Aquarius, there's going to be many opportunities, willing or unwillingly, difficult or exhilarating, but there's choices that we will be forced to face. While Pluto moves direct, it's outside forces that continuously make impressions on you. So it's moving direct, and it's kind of like This is all external, influencing you, maybe the way you think, the way you behave, the things that you want, that you want to purchase, all that, kind of like TV ads that tell you you want something and then you really, really want it. Now, as Pluto is at a halt, it's parked at that 5-degree, 30 minutes of Aquarius. It can feel almost like a big heaviness, like a bus is just sitting on your chest, almost constricting your breathing, like you feel like you're just suffocating a little bit because there's something there. There's something that's like almost eating away at you that that you have to deal with, that you have to face. And that, I think, is what this whole Pluto retrograde is all about. It's really going down deep, feeling what's weighing you down and dealing with it. This again began with our Scorpio full moon that we did have this past Friday, the 1st of May. And of course, Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. So it's really fitting that as we wane down with that mood, with the moon, we turn inward. We're forced to look deep inside our subconscious, and it can be a very heavy time. So if you did see that video, remember how we spoke about Pluto being in a T-square with the full moon in that video. So if you haven't seen it yet, definitely check it out. I'm not going to go super deep into it today, but just to give you a little background, I'm going to tag that right here and at the end. So definitely check that out. But I will say, there is going to be a lot of soul searching going on. Mercury will square Pluto today. In fact, it's actually starting today. So right off the bat, we're focusing on the knowledge that we have gained, how to process this information, and how to use it moving forward. Kind of like what you do with the moon phases. So you've gained all the information you can with that full moon, and now you're going to use it moving forward. So what can you take with you going ahead? The full moon was like kind of its peak, and it may have felt at that time, and I know for me it really has, it could have been this overwhelming feeling again that something is telling you to pay attention, that that like that heaviness and telling you have to deal with something, and now it's coming to a head, and emotionally you're having trouble handling it on your own. So now you have to really face it and deal with it because it's not getting stuff down anymore. What it really reminds me of is, of course, my favorite place in the world is Yellowstone Park. There's these bubbling, sulfuric, the sulfur smelling, they're called hot pots. And it looks like clay just bubbling in the ground. They look innocent enough. They look just like, bloop, bloop, bloop. They have little bubbles, but deep inside there is extreme heat and extremely high pressure. So this pressure now and then must be released to keep them from erupting pretty much. And then this gas explosion, the gas that comes out that's being released is like a putrid and repugnant smell. It's so much that you want to kind of almost get away from it. I have a video that I put up, I think I did, maybe I'll flag it here if I can, of me moving through one of these with the smoke coming out, and it's really overwhelming the way it just covers you. And I think that video kind of just explains everything that's going on right now. So right now we are kind of stuck, it's how you can feel really. These things within you or even external influences that you are trying to run from, that you're sick of hearing things on the news, you're sick of this, you're sick of that, I'm trying to get away from it, trying to protect myself, but we're forced to face it really. We can't keep ignoring what's happening within us, and we can't keep ignoring, unfortunately, what's happening around us and the influences that are happening around us. So as we move towards our new moon in Taurus, Pluto is going to be sitting there motionless. And so this is time to take time for yourself. It's going to be at this same degree just barreling down until the 12th, so almost until that new moon. So you want to think about, you want to meditate on, go within, prepare yourself for that next step. This is one of many steps we will make along the way as we climb through with Pluto through the sign of Aquarius. Inwardly and outwardly, are we changing in ways that we choose? This is what you want to really look at deep inside. Are we being manipulated again by how we think and by the world around us? But as always, I recommend that you pull up your chart, because this is going to happen differently for everybody, and it's going to make you grow in certain ways, release in certain ways, struggle in certain ways, and really change and develop, almost evolve in certain areas of your life. So of course, like, I recommend that you pull up your chart, your birth chart, and see what area of your life this might be falling in. So our charts can be separated into quadrants. So I'm gonna kind of separate it that way instead of going through every single one. The first two quadrants are kind of inward and working on yourself and growing yourself, developing yourself. A personal core development, how we are affected. The second are more outwardly and how we affect those around us. So the first quadrant is houses 1, 2, and 3. And you'll fall within this if you are Aquarius, if you are Capricorn rising, or a Sagittarius rising. So really, this is about, starting with the first house, developing your personal identity, your self-worth, your appearance, your basic needs, community, and your communication within. It's shaping us at our most basic levels. First is an area I just went through. So Pluto had just, in Capricorn, transited through my first house. So I've come out of it so different than how I went into it, really, as far as my self-confidence and my self-worth goes. I've changed so much and grown so much as a person. There has been a lot of challenges. Before, I was kind of a wife and a mother, and then I kind of developed myself, and I went through divorce, and so it just kind of like, you see yourself evolving, and there were rough things that you had to face. So now, moving into that, so if it's going in through your first house, if you are an Aquarius rising, this is how you're going to feel it, In the second house, our worth, our finances, what we truly need in our lives to bring us happiness. And that is going to change and grow. What we thought we needed once might not be as important. What we never thought we needed might all of a sudden be important. And these are what things we truly need at this time that are going to build, develop, and evolve over this transit. How we will also develop our interactions with those we connect to on a familial level, on a friendship level, or even on a communal basis. So that is as it's going through your third house. Moving into our second quadrant, this is our 4th, 5th, and 6th houses. So this would be if you're a Scorpio rising for 4th house, a Libra rising for 5th house, and a Virgo rising for 6th house. So this is our morals, our traditions, our heritage, what we were taught, how these morals, beliefs will develop over time, the things that we want to hold on to, the traditions we want to hold on to, or the things that we kind of just don't feel are meant for us anymore, that we might grow out of and change out of. So moving into those things that we hold dear to ourselves, transforming maybe into parenthood, into more responsibilities when it comes to that. Also the things that we do for fun, what brings us joy. If it was going out to clubs before, now it might just be going out to a nice casual dinner with some of the people that you love, or just your yourself. Who knows? Maybe you're just going to put yourself out there a little bit more and date yourself instead of, just worrying about finding that, next partner that you're going to be with. So doing the work you choose. So next we're going, and then it's doing the work that we choose to do. So moving on, our everyday say jobs. Is it where you're really happy? Now you want to start thinking, am I happy here? Or do I want to kind of grow into something else? Or maybe there's an area of what you're doing that you want to kind of move into. So maybe move away from something and into something else. So focusing on what is important to you, because some things just might be too maybe superficial. You're not interested in that anymore. So maybe you're working towards something a little more, a little deeper, a little more special, something important to us. Keeping with those habits as well, developing our everyday habits into just the things that are important. So, you know, if you're just getting up every day and doing the exact same things, maybe, you know, making the bed isn't as important to you as it is. It is important, but say that to you. Maybe you just don't do it. Maybe it just takes too much time out. Maybe you get too stressed. Maybe you're rushing around too much. So you want to do, you know, get rid of, again, shed what's no longer working for you. If you come home from work every day and you have to have, you know, a glass of scotch, maybe kind of rid that. Think of your body, think what's healthy for your body and what you want to develop in your body and keep it healthy and strong. So going into our third quadrant, this moves to a more outward influence. So this is how we kind of affect other people and how we affect the world around us. This is our houses 7, 8, and 9. So this would be Leo in the 7th, Cancer in the 8th, and then Gemini rising in the 9th. So where Pluto will fall. So how will we grow and change in our relationships? And really, what do we need from a partner at this time? Compared to what we used to want. Maybe we wanted somebody that would buy us gifts and shower us with, you know, jewels and, you know, give us whatever we want. But now we just want to have that partner that we can sit on the couch with. Or maybe it's vice versa. Maybe you want a little bit more out of a relationship. So how will you change and grow in these relationships? What do we need from that partner? And what do you have to offer them? What will you develop that you can then give to your partner that maybe you couldn't give them before? So it's also what we can gain from these relationships as this moves into the 8th house with Cancer. What can we gain with these relationships? What have we built together? What can we build together? What can we do as what can our shared resources do together? It can be anything, you know, if you put 2 and 2 together, maybe you guys are great at working together, maybe going into business, maybe you guys are, you know, or maybe you need to release something. Maybe you have 2 houses, you want to go down to 1, or, you know, just letting go a little bit of some things that aren't serving you anymore, and then focusing on the things that are important to you. You know, sell something off to buy something else, maybe buy an RV, you know, and travel the world. Who knows, because that's what's coming up next. So where will we turn also spiritually together? You know, this is our 9th house, you know, if you're a Gemini rising. So how do we move on? Is this going to be moving on alone? What are we going to release? What are we going to get rid of? Are we going to do this alone, or do we choose to stay and expand our horizons metaphysically, intellectually perhaps, or our actual horizons by going to different places where you could travel and see the world and do this, you know, with a partner or even by yourself, depending on what you want to leave behind. You know, if you're just going to, you know, I'm not just going to work every day. I'm going to do some traveling. I'm going to release this a little bit and try and live my life. So this is where you could change and grow in that 9th house area. So when we move into our 4th quadrant, so this is our effect on the world, you know, again, around us. So the houses are the 10th, 11th, and 12th. So Taurus for 10th, Aries for the 11th and 12th. We have Pisces. So this will what we be known for and what we're remembered for our, you know, our legacy going forward. You know, kind of like this show, the movie It's a Wonderful Life. You know, what have you done to impact the world around us? You know, from our time in this world, how will we develop the way others see us? What can we leave behind for them? What things can we teach them and that can continue generation after generation, that then they will teach their next generation, and so on and so forth. But also, as we move into the 12th house, what part of us do we choose to keep hidden? This is where Pisces, if you're a Pisces rising, it's going to be in your 12th house. What are you going to choose to keep hidden? What do you think others might not understand and maybe will see you differently, that you really just want to keep to yourself, that you don't want to let known? In what way? Also, may you just really just surrender yourself, exposing your weaknesses, so that this may help somebody else, to show the world, like, not everyone is perfect. Not everyone is what they portray themselves to be on Facebook or when they're influencers. You know, everyone has their trials and tribulations, and maybe this is what you're going to choose to expose and bring out, and then kind of lead forward with and develop so that you may help somebody else. But for all of us, it is going to be quite a journey of self-reflection. It's, again, shedding away what we don't need, but then growing our wings so we can fly. It's facing those hard, foreboding realities, those secrets, those traumas that we need, you know, a deep cleansing, you know, kind of like a deep, dark cleaning out all the gunk in ourselves, from our bodies and our minds, really, so that we can move forward more open-minded, healthier, happier, fresher, like a kind of a fresh start. We have a trine to Mars on the 5th, so of July. So July is going to be pretty impactful, and it encourages us to really move forward. So July, everything will likely hit hard, and this is as Pluto makes a lot of aspects with our social and our outer planets. But the first one is with Mars, which is our personal planet. And this encourages us to really start moving forward. So the 5th of July, things are just gonna start ramping up, I think. And we're gonna be determined to focus our energy on what we want in this life. You know, okay, this is what I want, and this is what I need to let go of, and how do I go about making this happen? So it's really just going down deep and thinking about what is important. How do we want to evolve as beings? How do we want to come out on the other side? We also have Uranus in a trine to Pluto on July 18th. So this will really help us during these changes. So change can be difficult, but this trine can help them go a little more smoothly as we keep transitioning into our new selves. This is going to be the first of two, which I think the next one is going to be in December. I'm not exactly sure. I know the Neptune, it has a second in December or November as well, or October. I'd have to check those dates, but we will be getting into that as we get into July, and we'll really like dig a lot deeper down on this, so you want to stay tuned for that. So we're going to be having that sextile, like I brought up, with Neptune on the 25th. So that's bringing our spiritual awareness, really opening that up as like an intuitive mind to know if we're really heading in the right direction. Pluto is going to be kind of developing that, and, you know, evolving our minds so that we just kind of will know a little bit more about what we really need, what truly is going to be meaningful in our lives, and what truly is not really necessary anymore. So, and this is going to be just after Jupiter is in, which will be in Leo at that time, and it's going to be opposite. It's going to be in an opposition to Pluto on the 20th. So, and that can make this transition period, it can add a little bit of difficulty to it. You know, we're thinking so big, or maybe overthinking things a little bit. Kind of just spreading our wings maybe a little bit too much at this time. We have a long time that this transit is going to be happening. It's a good 20 years. So we want to take our time. We don't want to just, you know, jump out of the nest. We want to cultivate these ideas, our, you know, everything. We want to work on it. Oh, picks. All right, my cat's got his tail in. So there's all just so much potential in our future, but we need to, you know, take our time to grow and develop naturally, putting in the work where the work is needed. All right, Pix, do you mind? Again, you know, be sure to go deep within yourself to find out what is best for you, not what others tell you is best for you, what you feel is best for you. You want to really just let yourself evolve into the best you that you feel you can be. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I want to thank everyone for taking the time to check in and watch. And also, if you liked, please hit the like button. Also subscribe. It really helps grow the channel, and we have so much more to talk about. So if you subscribe and hit that notification bell, you can come along on this journey with me. Again, it helps grow the channel, and I appreciate every single like, subscription, every view, everything. So even if you know somebody that could be going through a challenging time and might be interested in this content, share and spread the word with them as well. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I love reading what y'all have to say. So we wanted to make sure you go ahead with a peaceful mind. So keep peace in your mind. Always come out with positive words, and have a deep, deep love in your heart, and have confidence in yourself that ultimately you know what is best for you, and what you know what is best for you. So I will see y'all soon. Bye.